Greetings, dear parents, and dear faculty and staff as well. Welcome to this Parents Orientation. Welcome to this very exciting school year 2023 to 2024 when we return to fully on-site schooling. I would like to frame my welcome remarks in terms of excellence reimagined. That is a theme, that is a slogan that we are using in the school to help us understand what we need to get done this school year. It is a return to full face-to-face learning, yes, but we also know that excellence requires of us to be very vigilant in the way we learn to live with the COVID-19 virus. The COVID is still around. We are in a much better place now than 3 years ago, thanks to the vaccines, thanks to all the public health protocols that we have observed. And therefore, I want to tell you that we will continue abiding by all public health protocols as set by our government. But it's much easier now. Will we continue wearing our masks? Yes, but only in confined spaces, especially where there is air conditioning. So that means in the classroom, we will no longer open the windows and doors. We will keep our masks on, and that will be true for all enclosed spaces. But when we are in the canteen, when we are outdoors, wearing of the mask will be optional. Along with that, it means that at the gates, there will be no more health declaration form, big relief for all of us, but we will continue to check for temperature. The medical advice we have received says that we will monitor very closely for fever and cough, but not for other symptoms. We will provide more details in a more comprehensive memo, but that gives you an idea of how the situation has changed and what the day-to-day situation in school will look like and feel like. So that's for public health. On a day-to-day basis, of course, after 2 years of Excel and 1 year of HiFlex, full face-to-face schooling means that there will be no more hybrid or HiFlex setup in the classroom. No, if you need to be absent, then you're absent, just like pre-pandemic times, and we will provide the necessary support. We will, however, experiment with the weekly online day on Wednesdays. No, one of our big takeaways during the pandemic is that online work and schooling is okay, but not every day. So we will continue to experiment with doing it 1 day a week. But I emphasize that it's an experiment because we need to make sure that we can fit into the remaining days of the week all the things that we need to do and want to do face-to-face, primarily for teaching and learning, but also for school operations. So we need to keep an open mind about this, but we will try it out for the first term. Excellence reimagined. In terms of public health, in terms of approaching our school life this year, this is what we are going to pursue. To go now into 3 particular areas where we want to reimagine excellence. First of all, there is the area of academics. We're a school after all. During Excel and HiFlex, we had to streamline the curriculum. And that's something we needed to do even before the pandemic. So it was good for us to do that. But having streamlined the curriculum, now that we are back to face-to-face schooling, we want to aim for depth in our learning. And of course, that takes a different texture from grade school to high school. So the way we look at grades, assessments, awards will be appropriate to the level of learning. But we can expect that there will be more objective metrics, that there will be more academic rigor. If for various reasons we had to be a little bit more accommodating during the 3 years of pandemic, then the academic rigor has to come back now. No, we need to keep moving forward. We will continue using technology in education. This is one of the strengths of Xavier School. We will continue using learning management systems and various tools, but the aim will be for depth, to continue promoting the love of learning, to continue promoting resiliency in our pursuit of teaching and learning. The second area where we want to reimagine excellence is holistic formation. And that must sound very familiar to you because it's such an integral part of Jesuit education. We want our formation not just to be about academics, but we want it to be holistic. Last year, we already talked about relationship and sexuality education. This will continue to be rolled out as a very important formation program in the 21st century. Mental health. This is one of the biggest takeaways during the pandemic, that we have to take care of our own mental health and the mental health of our young learners. So to continue providing psychological support, we have partnered with a new provider called MedRoser. You'll hear more about that in the unit orientations. In sports, I'm very happy to share that thanks to the generosity of our parents and alumni, we have made the decision to host the Jesuit Athletic Meet at our New Valley campus. Both campuses will be involved, both school communities, but the events will be held at the New Valley campus. We've invited all Jesuit schools in the Philippines to field their various teams in basketball and football and swimming and tennis and other sports. We will converge at the New Valley campus in September. It has been decades since Xavier School hosted this, so we're very excited for this big event. Sports is a big part of Jesuit formation. As we always say, no, a sound mind in a sound body is what we would like for everybody. Over here at the San Juan campus, I'm also very happy that we have upgraded and added 3 new tennis courts in our quadrangle. You'll see it in the picture. Again, thanks to the alumni parents who donated this. And alumni of a certain age will remember a time decades ago when we had tennis courts in the quadrangle. So that has come back bigger, better, more modern. Our wooden court in the high school gym is also being upgraded thanks to the family and friends of the late Brian Brenton Chua, former commissioner of the Xavier Alumni Basketball League. So that is another improved facility that we will all enjoy. And along with that, the comeback of PE and athletics programs to promote overall fitness. And finally, in terms of holistic formation, our international programs are back. It's not a future tense, but it's already happened. As early as last December, the High School Model United Nations group was already traveling abroad for their competitions or events. This summer, we had our biggest ever, unprecedented, biggest ever summer trip. And it was to Taipei for high school students of both campuses. We had about 140 students. No? And because of that, we had to partner with 2 schools, St. Ignatius High School, a Jesuit school, and Providence High School, run by sisters. And it was a wonderful program combining study, cultural exposure, and explorations in various places. So that was our first big foray into bringing students abroad again. There were no major untoward incidents, and therefore we're confident that we can bring back international programs. Certainly, more summer trips to look forward to next year. And in San Juan, we will endeavor to bring back XCE, the Xavier China Experience. Grade 8 will continue to go to Fujian. Because of prohibitive costs in Beijing and Shanghai, we will bring grade 12 to Yunnan. So both grade 10 and grade 12 will spend their time in Yunnan, and it will be the same study trip. We'll bring in part of the second academic term to China. More information about that in the high school orientation. And therefore, all these areas, relationship and sexuality education, mental health, sports, international programs, all these contribute to the holistic formation that we aim to provide for our young learners, your children. The third area where we want to reimagine excellence is in terms of forming persons for others. Not in the future after our students graduate, but right now while they're still at Xavier School. And here, our anchor for it is the campus ministry and service programs. We did not let go of that during Excel and HighFlex. We still did it, even if it could only be done online. Of course, this year there will be more face-to-face interactions. We have been doing a big review so that for every grade level, we can do it in an age-appropriate way. And I'm happy that this year, we have 2 Jesuits who are overseeing this. The beginning of the year, our institutional campus minister, is still in charge, Father Philip Johan. And then by late August or early September, my successor as president of Xavier School will already be here, Father Joseph Howe, and he will focus on the programs at Xavier School, New Valley. So I'm glad that working with our lay collaborators, these two Jesuits, along with the other chaplains like Father Art Borhan, Father Jun Buktas, Father John Syriac, Father Ben Sim, that they will be around to accompany us in our life of service and our life of faith. We have been emphasizing also caring for our common home, no? Environmentally sound practices. So now that everybody is back on campus, we have to promote this again in a big way, starting with waste segregation. No more use of single-use plastics, utensils, pet bottle drinks, many other practices. We want this to keep growing and becoming stronger as part of our school culture. Over at the New Valley campus, I'm happy that we're taking in a fresh batch of Zolwaga scholars, those from the public schools who will be with us for 6 years. And then we're also taking in our second batch of TRITS scholars, those who are coming for the Tech Voc Senior High School track. No? And they will eventually do their internship at Toyota Motor Philippines or Dual Tech on their path to employment after high school. This is a big thrust in our Xavier School New Valley campus and a big manifestation of how the school wants to be persons for others and how we want to form persons for others through the gift of Jesuit education. Therefore, we have a very exciting year ahead of us. We want to reimagine excellence. We want to bring you the best of Jesuit education, face-to-face, but emphasizing academics, holistic formation, and being persons for others. I trust that the principals will spell these out in greater detail in the unit orientations, but it's a very exciting year ahead. I welcome you on this journey, and I hope that it's going to be a very fulfilling, very enriching year ahead. And let's just continue to be open as we move forward. We'll continue adapting as we need to so that we can form a school community that is committed to being of service to each other and to the nation. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Now at this point, may I invite Mrs. Jane Cacacho, our grade school principal, to give us her message for the school year.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Nice to see all of you back. May I just have a show of hands? Who among you are our new parents? Okay. All right. So welcome to Xavier School. Let me begin by reiterating what Father Ari mentioned, that our thrust for this year is Excellence Reimagined. So my role this afternoon is to operationalize what excellence is in the grade school. Okay? Usually, we think of excellence as something, to aspire for. But I'd like to put a different slant of it, to reimagine excellence as being the result of motivation and engagement and effort. For the first bullet, motivation and engagement, I wish that our students will perform very, very well, not because they're concerned about the grade that they're about to get in the different subjects, but rather they're performing very, very well, precisely because they are enjoying themselves a lot. Okay? They find meaning, fun, okay? Joy in what they do. And because they're so into it, they come up with very good results. Excellence. Okay? And this is the reason why we have the confidence to continue our practice of not giving a grade in some of our subjects. Okay? Because we want our students to do well in them, not because the grade scares them or because they're aspiring for a particular grade, but because they find meaning in these subjects. Okay? Last year, some of you may have participated in the surveys we had about the no grades in the following, right? So let me just share with you some of our findings. In the survey of students from grade 3 to grade 6, across all levels, majority of the students said that they find CNE an important subject, whether or not it is being graded. And in our focus group discussion among the teachers, those who had experience of teaching CNE as a graded subject, and now during the recent years, experience teaching CNE without a grade, okay, they all said that they did not find any decrease in the amount of effort that students gave to the subject. So that kind of assured us that we are on the right track, that our students were doing what they were doing in CNE, not because of the grade, because they were, engaged with the subject. They found meaning in it. How about for music and art? Looking at the survey results, we found that the students prefer not being graded in the subject because they find that they can express themselves better in the arts, okay? And they were not too concerned about being limited by the rubrics, okay? And in PE, we also saw from the answers and from the anecdotal sharing of our PE teachers that taking out the grade from the subject released our students from undue pressure and stress. There were accounts that on a regular PE day, students would do very well, would run fast, would be able to catch a ball, throw it properly. But if it's the period for the practical exam, they suddenly become clumsy. No? And, they have stomach ache. When on a regular day, they did not feel this. And so, it seems that the practical exam took the joy out of doing PE. And we don't want that. Okay? Now, because of the results of the survey and the focus group discussions, we are continuing with a no-grade policy in CNE, music, art, and PE. But lest you think that we see these subjects as less important, please allow me to disagree. Okay? We actually see these subjects as being more than academic subjects. We want our students to be able to use what they learn in the subjects in, as Father Ari said, real life. Okay? In their day-to-day lives. Also, we have a commitment to you that despite not giving a grade to these subjects, we will, of course, make sure that our students get the basic concepts, acquire the basic skills needed in them. Okay? Moreover, even with the absence of grades, we also promise to give you feedback about how your son is doing. Your children actually get immediate feedback from their teachers. But should you want to know more, you can always approach the teachers during PTC, send them an email to find out. But really, if you also check the LMS, CISO of your son, you will also find that our teachers constantly give feedback to student work through the LMS. Okay? Now, our survey last year in CNE showed that across grade levels, both from parents and students, they all said that what they find will be more helpful in developing their faith and spirituality are not the tests that will just check for conceptual understanding, but what they want more of are activities, spiritual activities. And so, taking out time to do tests actually gives us more time for spiritual activities. So we are going along that way. Okay? So I hope that's welcomed by all. Now, for music and art, this is the thing. When we were first conceptualizing the not giving of grades in music and art, in a meeting with parents, one parent said, sa art na nga lang mataas ang grade ng anak ko. Wala pa. Okay? And so, we certainly do not want to rob the children of that opportunity to shine. Okay? But, instead of getting that esteem from high grades, what we will do instead is to give more time and preparation to having activities like concerts, exhibition, art exhibits, so that our children can showcase their talent. Okay? So, it's not that we will not recognize, it's just that we will recognize in a different way. Same with PE. Instead of the practical exams that create all that stress, no? We'll have more mini tournaments, inter-class competitions maybe, an intrams, and so on. So I think you'll all agree with me that these activities will be more relevant, no? In the formation of the skills and attitudes and virtues about these subjects. Okay. Now, that was excellence as a result of motivation and engagement. The other thing we want our students to hopefully realize is that excellence can be a result of their effort. Okay? That should they put enough time, effort, strategies into something, they can do it. No? And in Xavier, we have put several practices in place. But what do we want our students to imbibe? This idea that we, even adults, learn in different ways and at different speeds. But even if we reach the finish line at different times, it's okay for as long as we get there. Okay, now, what have we put in place to help our students think about this? First is the retake policy, which we are offering for grades 1 to 6. Okay? So for the benefit of our new parents, what's that? When a student gets an IE in an assessment that's in a traditional test, pen and paper, okay, that's taken in class, a student who gets an IE will be called by the teacher. You'll get an email about it. He'll be scheduled for an extra encounter, and after that extra encounter, he will be made to take a retest. And it's the retake grade that will be recorded. Okay? Now, so when a student gets an IE for the first time for an exam, we want him to feel that not that, oh, I'm a failure, I got IE, I'm stuck with this. But rather, okay, this is an IE, there are still things I do not understand and I cannot do. So my teacher will help me and I will go to that encounter with my teacher so that I am more ready, okay, when I take the test again. Okay? Now, please note that that extra encounter or practice is required. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. This is not chamba. No? This is the grade first time, this is the grade second time. I'll record the second grade. No, that's not it. In fact, I'd like to clarify that the retake policy is not a statistical strategy to pull up grades. Okay? It's not a means to ensure that everyone will pass. Okay? That's a bonus, yes, that's an effect. It's an unintended effect. But the real purpose behind the retake policy is precisely to have our students think that maybe I haven't gotten it yet, but the school will wait and I'll have a second chance. And so, we don't want this practice to be abused because it has been abused. We know of instances when students deliberately do poorly. In fact, some don't answer, no, the test the first time, knowing that there will be a retake anyway. Will we be able to stop that? No. But I think if the students understand the reason behind the retake, because you from the home will also explain it to them, we will have less or even none of that. Mind you, sometimes it's the adults in the home, okay, or in the tutorial centers who give this suggestion to the student. No? That don't worry, you'll get a retake anyway, and that's with extra encounter. And by then, more or less, you know how the test will look like, so you'll definitely do better. But when that happens, as I said, we're not hitting the goal, no? The primary purpose of giving the retake. There are some assessments that are not eligible for retake, okay? These are assessments where a long lead time is given, and throughout that lead time, the teacher constantly already gives feedback about the work. Why is this not eligible for retake? Because remember, our big idea here is that maybe a student needs more time and help to do well. But in that complex assessment, enough time, enough feedback have already been given. Thus, we will not give a retake for those types of assessments anymore. Okay? Another practice that we have made available for grades 3 to 6 students is the redo practice. Okay? A redo, why only starting grade 3? Because these are 4 assessments that are more complex. Okay? That will entail a number of days to do. How does it look like? Let's say a student has to write something after doing research and activities. Okay? And an initial deadline has been set. Teacher will collect the student output and will grade them. Okay? And will return it to the student. Okay? And as the work is returned, the teacher will say, well, if I grade your work now, this is what you'll get. And imagine that previous feedback, has already been given. So the student now has a choice. Do I accept this grade? Or, teacher said before that I could do better by doing this. So I'd like a better grade because I know I can do better. So the student has a choice to say, teacher, please give it back to me. I won't pass it yet. I'll pass it at the second deadline. Okay? By then, an improvement would have been made. Okay? So, this time, this practice is an acknowledgement that one's initial work usually needs improvement. Okay? And that greater effort will usually yield rather a better grade. Okay? So, there's a magis term, there's a term for this, right? Magis. We'd like to do better. We want to find out how we can give more, do better. So this is a practice that also hopes to push that. When we talk about excellence being a result of effort, we cannot not discuss mistakes or errors, right? And I'd like to assure you that in Xavier, we see errors as opportunities for learning. We were going over the assessments that the different subjects will give in the year, and a number of the subjects usually employ error analysis as part of a test type. No? It just goes on to show that errors are really powerful. The use of errors could be a powerful strategy for learning. Okay? So, if something is wrong, we see it as an opportunity to correct. Okay? And in fact, most of the time, deeper learning happens only after a reflection about the mistakes. If a student gets the right answer quickly the first time around, that's well and good, as long as it's not by chance, chamba. Because sometimes it's chamba, and when it is, we don't even know if there's learning, right? But if a student arrives at the answer after grappling with the problem, after making mistakes, trying again, making another mistake, trying again, then usually that lesson sticks longer. And that lesson can be more transferable in real-life situations when they need it. Because they grappled with it for quite some time. They put all their energies into it. And having said that, may I just offer an unsolicited advice on parenting. Please do not get mad when your son makes an academic mistake. Okay? At a particular age, not knowing 24 times 52 is not a sin. Okay? It's not a deliberate effort to get you mad. It's probably because they lack practice, they need more, they don't know how to do it, and so on. And because it is such, what they need is not a punishment and a scolding. What they need is patient correction, wherein you will teach them how to do it. Okay? But syempre, when tempers are high and you're angry, it's also hard to teach, right? So cool down first before you continue with your instruction. Now, if in the course of, looking at the homework of your son, you see that there are mistakes, there's a pattern to the mistakes, no? I keep on saying this year after year in parent orientations, please let our teachers know so that our teachers will be alert to what needs to be retaught, what parts of the lesson need to be taught more slowly, and so on. Because if you don't tell our teachers and you tell your tutors, your son will get a higher grade, but not because of us. You're already paying us much. No, you're paying us a lot. So we'd like to earn our keep. Okay? And this example I always give, right? After their time with the tutor, they come back. And because they understand it, remember, what's the class size with tutor? 1:1. 1:5 is already big. So of course, you'd expect tutor to be good. Okay? Our class size is bigger. Right? When they come back, knowing everything, teacher will assume that, wow, I've been very effective. And my students all got my lesson. And she'll go faster. So where is that opportunity for us to help your son learn from the mistakes? Okay? So please, let's work together. Do not complain that teachers don't know how to teach. Okay? If you give us a chance, we'll show you that all our teachers are very good teachers. Because we are already waiting, okay? Because we have these safeguards in place to ensure that your son will reach that level, okay, that we want him to reach. Please note that we are redefining the description of a D. In the past, the D grade was given for instances when students got it but not very well, no? So just the tip, and then we're ready to give a D. But now, we will require concrete and convincing evidence of understanding of the most basic of skills before we will give any student a D or a passing mark. Why is this? Because if they fail they will get an encounter anyway, and they'll be made to take the retake. Okay? So, there's still that opportunity to pass. So, every time we give a D, that D means your son is ready for the next lesson. That he got what he needed to get for this particular lesson. Okay? Now, as I said, appreciating the redo and the retake entails a common understanding, no, of the home and the school. And not just a common understanding, but close coordination between the home and the school. And how do we do that? For complex assessments that take some time, when teachers assign the work early on, no? Early on the unit, and then students will have maybe 2 to 3 weeks to finish it. Don't think that after giving the instruction, the teacher already lets go of the students. No, they usually give a timeline of, by this time you should be doing this. By this time you should have finished this. By this time you should already start working on this. That timeline will be uploaded on the LMS. Okay? Or sometimes we might be emailed as part of the requirements. Okay? Regardless of where it is placed, you will be informed about the timeline. And if your son is observed not to be, to be very late, then we will call your attention so that you can help us remind your son. Okay? So, it is very important that you check your Savior Parent email religiously. Okay. So, for such kind of information, please check your email. But for the recording of the homework, the daily homework, and the schedule of the assessments, we will still rely on the HSCN, the Homeschool Communication Notebook, because we want them, to have that routine of logging what they need to do. And may I offer a reminder to our very diligent parents not to post the homework in your Viber. Okay? Our problem in the past has been students don't want to copy on the HSCN because they feel it's not necessary. Mommy already has a list when I go home. Diba? Okay, so you are robbing your child of the opportunity to become responsible if you do that for him. Okay? So please don't. Let me now go on to some of our school policies and structures. So as you know, we have a 2-batch schedule. This 2-batch schedule is seen as something villainous by many who don't like their schedule. But let me just explain why we need it. Okay? Our school day usually starts at 7:30 and ends after the 8th period. So in a regular day, depends on the grade level, no? But more or less 8 periods a day with 2 health breaks. Okay? If our schedule is such, when we do the schedule of our teachers, we only have 8 periods to play with. Okay? So it's hard to slot teachers into the subject periods. That's why we came up with a batch 2 schedule. Okay? Now, the batch 2 schedule allows us to have 11 periods, 11 slots to put in teachers. Why 11? Why not just 9? This is the reason why our health breaks are 2 40-minute breaks instead of 1 30-minute and 1 1-hour lunch break. Okay? It is so that we can have more room to assign teachers to classes. We have greater freedom with working on our schedule, which, believe me, is a level 100 plus Sudoku type. And so hard. You can see from the faces of our team leaders how hard it is for them. But that's the reason for it. Okay? Now, recognizing that it is indeed difficult to wait more than an hour, no? If you need to drop your son early, we really scheduled batch 2 to start after 40 minutes, okay? After 40 minutes after the first period. So, second period, immediately. Okay? So, and note that, 1, the waiting time is only 40 minutes. And 2, those who come in early may go to the library to wait anyway. Okay? And as you know, you've seen our library. If you haven't, ask your son about it. Okay? But we have a nice collection of books and it's very comfortable. Okay? Some of them actually don't want to go there. They prefer to be in the classroom because that's when they play, no, with their classmates. So it's opportunity for bonding also. We've already gotten numerous requests to move from batch 2 to batch 1 because our brother is in a different grade level, needs to come in at 7:30. If we give in to all your requests, we will end up with class sizes of 50 in batch 1 and maybe 10, 15 in batch 2, which is highly lopsided, which our classrooms cannot accommodate. So please understand if we have to deny those requests. Okay? We're bringing back the 7-day cycle. Maybe for our grade 2, you haven't had this before, no? But the 7-day cycle is when we don't follow a Monday to Friday schedule. Instead, we follow a day 1 to day 7 schedule. However, we start the school year with a day 0. A day 0 is an official school day. It's not a no-class day. It simply is day 0 because we don't follow the usual first period 7:30, second period 8:10. We reorganize the day into different chunks of time for special reasons. No? So, day 0 for the first week, and then let's say we will start with the academic classes the week after, on a Monday. Then that's your day 1, followed by a day 2, followed by a day 3. Day 3 is in yellow because it's an online day. You will follow the class schedule in your notes, no? But your son will be at home, going through the different periods. We will also be in our own homes, okay? But we will be working, we will be meeting with your sons through Zoom. And then, we continue the cycle. Let's say day 4 is on a Thursday. And let's say a typhoon hits us and signal number 2 is declared on that Friday. What will happen? Day 5, instead of being declared, instead of Friday being day 5, it gets moved to the next week. And we continue after day 6, day 7. It's in yellow again because it's an online day. And after day 7, we continue day 1, day 2, and so on. I see you taking your picture. Please just know, I am not omnipotent. That typhoon, I'm not sure about. Okay? So I'm not sure. Alright. So, I hope you can appreciate also the difficulty and the extra effort of our teachers because they have to be ready to adjust their instruction assessment from online to on-site and vice versa, depending on our schedule. So that's not easy, but we will, do our best to make sure that learning is not sacrificed and it's not compromised. Okay. Why why do we like the 7-day cycle? Because our experience has really proven that the 7-day cycle lessens anxiety as the students and parents are always next day ready. Before we went to the 7-day cycle, for example, today is a Monday and I go home, let's say I'm a student, I go home ready for my exam the next day, ready with the books I need for the next day, for the homework I need to submit for the next day. But I might not be ready for Wednesday. Right? If today is Monday, I'm just ready for Tuesday. And so when Tuesday suddenly gets suspended, there's a lot of anxiety. What will happen to the test? Will it push through on a Wednesday, etc.? Oh, there's something that needs to be passed on a Wednesday, but I did not bring home the materials I need for that because I thought there's a class on Tuesday. So it's that type of anxiety that we want to lessen. And we found that it does work. Okay? And should you be concerned that, oh, we're never going to memorize that, please don't memorize it. That's a waste of your brain cells. No? All you have to do is to keep a copy on your phone, post a copy by your ref, inside your son's bag, wherever you want it, print, post. Okay? And I'm sure there are diligent parents who are willing to answer you what day it is. Okay? All around the school too, we will put up reminders because we are not exempt, no, from forgetting what day it is. Now, the online Wednesday is experimental, as Father Ari mentioned, but we have seen the benefits of having our children not wake up always very, very early. No? Same with the adults. We enjoy sleeping given the stresses, no, that life brings. That extra day to wake up a little later does wonders. So I think for children and for adults both. And we've seen that instruction can happen effectively at that. Now, for grade 3, we will, and higher, so the gadget that we are recommending is the iPad this time, no, 10.9. Okay? And always, our question is, why does it have to be this particular time? As written in the circular previously given to you. So, this model was arrived at because of its storage, capacity for upgrade. We don't want it too old such that they cannot use it. It suddenly comes out, no, in the middle of the year because at this point in time, we foresee that they'll use it till grade 7. No? And then there are questions, why not the mini? Because it's too small and sometimes they need to have, 2 running apps simultaneously. Okay? And then there are also questions, why not the iPad Pro? Your son is not a graphic artist yet. Okay? Why will he need something that will not make use of all the features of the iPad Pro? We want to lessen, no, comparison also because really the pressure to have something like my seatmates, it's very strong. No? Let's help our children get away from that type of stress. Earlier, we said that grade 3 we will let the grade 3 students keep their iPads in school. But because of the online Wednesday, I'm afraid that at this point in time, we'll have to let them bring it home daily. Okay? Because, again, we don't know, and putting in the charger into the cart takes a lot of time. No? So, we will begin the school year by having the students bring home the gadgets every day. And then we'll see. No? If it goes well, then we will continue. If not, then we will review the policy and maybe require them to keep it in school. Okay. Now, you'll be happy to know we will bring back ECA or extracurricular activities. You know this as IBA, interest-based activities, in a more structured way. So for grade 2, we will set aside a day and merge subjects, okay, and replace them with special activities at least once a trimester. Okay? Most probably towards the end, if not the end of the trimester. Okay? For grades 3 and 4, we will inform your sons of the wide range of clubs that they can choose from. But the thing is, the club will be scheduled after the school day. Okay? It will be once a cycle, and they may actually decide to stick with one club for one term and then change a club for the next term. Because of this very flexible arrangement and that the schedule is after the last period, membership in a club will be optional. Okay? When they go to grade 5, then that's when they commit to one club for the year, and they'll be graded for that. Okay, for canteen purchases, so I'll talk to the grade 3 and 4, okay? We are not recommending, we don't like our grade 2 boys to bring either cash or anything that can be converted to cash. Why? Because they're usually not old enough to understand the meaning of money. No? We had students who treated entire batches. So, unless you are willing to have that happen, so please don't let them bring either cash or any device that will allow them to buy. Okay? For them, I will buy my friend. Okay, so you get the point. But for grades 3 and 4, should they decide to buy food from the canteen, so we have our partner there at the back, okay, from AUB. But just know that to be able, we will be cashless, so no cash will be accepted. You have to download the app. You parents have to open an account. You have, of course, to fund your account. Okay? And then, somewhere there, you will generate a QR code for your son. And you have to print the QR code. The teachers will help your son give the direction where to place it. And that's what will be used to make purchases. Why are we doing this? Because last year, our students brought their iPad to the canteen. Can you imagine their small hands holding a heavy iPad, trying to get the food from the server? So it was really challenging. So this time, they don't need to bring their iPad to the canteen anymore. Okay? Just the QR code will do. This app also allows you to monitor and to limit the amount that your son can spend on a particular day. Okay. You may go there later to ask questions, and we will come up also with a circular that details the step-by-step on how to do each of these steps. Alright. One thing that worked very well for us in the last year was the health notification form. Remember that? If your son had to stay home, to isolate, to observe quarantine, instead of writing an excuse letter, you just filled out the form. Because it worked so well, we're expanding it to non-COVID related absences. Okay? So the absence notification form now takes the place of an excuse letter for any type of absence, takes the place of a leave of absence form, or the health notification form. So, once again, we'll send you a nice long circular to help you sleep better at night. Okay. I enjoy writing those circulars. Alright, so we'll tell you how to do that. But big idea is, If your son will be out, will not report to school, you don't have to write a letter, just fill out a form. The form might need you to upload certain documents. Okay? Anyway, it will be detailed in that very nice circular. Okay. When I showed you the calendar, remember, we had one entire week just to talk about routines. Mind you, the teaching of routines doesn't end on the first week. We do that, no? For the rest of the year, and we try to implement it consistently throughout the year. Why do we do that? Because, efficiency depends on whether we're doing things in a particular way, if we have the same understanding, and it is very important that the home and the school coordinate and have a common understanding of how things should be done. Okay? In particular, let's say study habits. No? We will teach our students how to study for certain subjects. It will be good if these tips can also be followed at home, so that the child will only need to consistently follow one set of things, okay, of routines. Standards of excellence. In Xavier, we expect our students, when we place them, when we norm them, okay, to be in a bell curve. What does it mean? We will have a few who will be very, very good. We will have a few who will struggle in school, but majority will fall in the middle, no? In the average, high average, low average, average. Okay. Now, it will be good if you have a very realistic image of your son also, right? Meaning to say, if, there's a difficult question in the test that he doesn't get, sometimes it's not his fault, but maybe sometimes it's beyond his capacity now. And so he falls in the middle. Do not get mad. No? My experience is that, my observation rather, is that sometimes parents who wish they themselves did better when they were younger tend to push their children to be what they want to be, which is kind of unfair, and it puts a lot of stress on the students. So let's just make sure that he does his homework, he understands the lesson, he knows how to ask you for help, right? If he does all those, to me, as a parent, that's already fine. Okay? That's all we're asking for. Now, and aside from those academics-related concerns, the school and the home should hopefully also share the same set of values and virtues. For example, in school, we promote independence. Okay? We tell the student, you fix your locker, this is how you do it, you make sure it's clean, and so on. But at home, Yaya fixes the bag. Okay? Puts everything inside. The student does not know where anything is because it wasn't him who fixed it. So, where is the fostering of independence? If that happens, there's a lack of integrity between what is important in school and what is important at home, and it can create confusion, and we are less impactful with the things that we want to do and what we want to happen. Also about acceptable behaviors. Now that we're coming back from staying home, the differences in parenting, in child rearing, in what's done in your household becomes more apparent. No? Students who come from big families with a lot of cousins and brothers, and they roughhouse as they play differently from a student who's the only child. A mosquito cannot land on him, or else Yaya will be in trouble. very, very different. And sometimes, how parents see reactions, okay, can also be very, very different. So our role now is that very difficult job of standardizing expectations of what acceptable behavior is. And so let's be patient with each other. Please don't think that how you do things at home is the best. Okay? I'm sure there are good points to it, but you know, being a big school, we have to find that happy middle that will be acceptable to everyone. In line with that, I'd just like to remind you that when your son is at home, you see a side to him that we don't see. Maybe because he's more comfortable with you. No? But also know that when he is with us, we see a side of him that you probably have not seen. Right? And because of that, he might look very differently to you and me. Now, all we ask is that we trust each other so that when we share surprising information about your son with you, you will be open enough to accept that, okay, that's possible. Hindi yung, no, my son can never be that. Okay? And in the same way, when you raise your concerns to us, we will be open enough to consider the context, okay, that you bring to our attention. And we will make our decisions in consideration of those home contexts. Because after all, we have the same goal. No? It's to take care of your son, that he is at the center always of all discussion. Okay? But admittedly, even if both of us have that goal to make that Xaverian feel that he is loved at home, loved in school, there will be times when you probably won't agree with what the teacher does. Okay? Or you have concerns that you want raised. Then when that happens, what do? This is our protocol. The chain of people that you might want to talk to. All we ask is that you follow the chain. Why? Because the most efficient, the quickest way to have your concern addressed or resolved is when you approach the right person. If you go straight to Father Ari, who is not involved at all, what will he do? He will let me know. And because I also do not know what happened, I will go see my assistant principal. And because he or she, okay, does not know too, they will see the team leader or the department chair, who will again still have to interview the concerned teacher or staff. So, wouldn't it be better you just go straight to the teacher? Okay? If you want that issue addressed in the most efficient way. The Viber group of parents has been very helpful in disseminating important information about the school. However, it is not the place to rant or to express your dissatisfaction. Why? Because, you know, if you have a concern, you want it addressed. I doubt if Father Ari is part of your group. No? So, no one can do anything about it in your Viber group. And sometimes, we've had unhappy occasions when the students are inadvertently bullied by parents. Because these students are talked about in Viber groups, which is very unfair. Those are minors. Okay? So let's just be very careful about what to put in the Viber groups. I would just like to end by saying, all of us look forward to working with all of you because all of us are looking forward to seeing our Xaverians grow into very healthy, self-assured, independent, and very capable young gentlemen. Okay, so we look forward to working with you. When we are together, coordinating, we will be better together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cacacho. Now, Father Aries and Mrs. Cacacho's presentations might have surfaced questions and concerns. You may send us your questions or concerns through the QR code flash on the screen. These will be included in the FAQs that we will prepare and share with you. Now, to share with us the health protocols that we will be implementing this school year, let us welcome Dr. Anne-Marie Tanding, the Medical Coordinator of Xavier School Infirmary.
So, good afternoon, parents. This will just be a short talk just to inform you what changes we will be doing for health policies for school year 2023. Okay? So, our doctors, we have 6 doctors from Cardinal Santos Medical Center. They are all senior consultants and pediatricians who will be taking care of your children. And depending on the nurses, we have between 4 to 5 nurses. But the nurses are spread out among 3 clinics. So sometimes there is a wait time. We have the main infirmary, the early education clinic, and the high school clinic. Okay? So, mask use will continue. We will be wearing masks in all enclosed spaces like today, the classroom and the library. However, the students can now remove their mask during PE classes, sports, if they're eating during the health breaks or during lunch. Okay? But we will still enforce mask use when they are inside the classrooms. Goals. Now, we are cognizant of the fact that we don't have online classes anymore. But I hope the parents can understand that we also have to weigh that between having your child in school and not missing their lessons, and at the same time, protecting the other classmates from getting sick. Okay, so for this year, if your child has cold, runny nose, they can come to school without any problems, provided your child can keep their mask on. So if you will tell me that my child is so congested that they cannot wear a mask, then it is probably a better idea for them to stay home until they feel better. Okay? And then we would like to request, this is part of our formation also, that the child wear the mask to also protect others from getting sick. So if we can encourage your children to wear the mask all the time except during PE or when he is eating, because he has colds, he has runny nose, so it might not be COVID, but he does have some sort of infection which he can pass to his classmates. Okay? If your child has a cough, so whether this is allergic cough due to asthma, cough due to a viral or bacterial infection, we will allow your child to return to school as long as you can present a negative COVID antigen test. Okay? This is voluntary. If you opt to keep your child home until he is symptom-free, then you don't have to present a COVID antigen test. The COVID antigen test is only if you feel that your child does not have COVID, but he is still persistently coughing, then by all means, present a negative COVID antigen test. Okay? We will be sending home all students with cough. Okay? So this is non-negotiable unless there is a negative COVID antigen test. Okay? All children with fever may return to school as long as they are symptom-free for 14 hours and submit a negative COVID antigen test. You can complete the 5-day isolation period in lieu of the COVID antigen test as long as your child is symptom-free. Okay? Only COVID antigen tests done by a laboratory with printed results are accepted. Self-administered home tests are not acceptable. The test for those, let's say, who have cough is good for 10 days, okay? From the date of the COVID antigen test. And you will be submitting this to the principal's office the day before you return. So please do not send it to the infirmary because we cannot keep track of who is absent on which day. It will be submitted to the principal's office to say that our child is negative, we will be reporting back to school tomorrow or whatever, okay? A medical certificate from your physician, regardless of their specialty, their hospital, will not be accepted in lieu of the COVID antigen test. Okay? So students, so what happens if your child becomes sick in school? If the child who has fever will be monitored on an outdoor isolation area while waiting for the parents to fetch them. This is to prevent from the kids being all in the ward together and possibly spreading infection to each other. Please pick up your child within 3 hours. Before, we had the 2-hour rule. Now we are a little bit more relaxed. We're giving you 3 hours. I think from any point in Metro Manila, you should be able to pick your child up within 3 hours. Now, in the event your child is critically ill or the parents cannot be reached despite our best efforts, it will be the discretion of the school physician to send the child to the emergency room of Cardinal Santos for further treatment. Okay? We try not to do this, but if we think the situation warrants, then we might have to send your child to Cardinal Santos. Okay? What else is new? If there is a household exposure for a COVID case, we no longer advise you to isolate. So your child can come to school provided they do not have symptoms. But they would need to keep their mask on except when they are eating. Okay? Let's try to protect the others and not spread infection. Okay? If you have any questions, these are the numbers and our email. I know parents do not answer cell phones if they don't know the number, but these are the numbers that the nurses will use to reach you. So please, if you see the numbers, kindly answer. Our frustration in the past is we're trying to call you about your child and the parents are shutting their phones off. Okay? Thank you and good day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanting. Next, we would like to call on Mr. Ray Audet, the grades 3 and 4 team leader, to discuss grade level concerns, especially reminders for the first few days of school.
Good afternoon, parents. I am Mr. Ray Audet, grade 3 and 4 team leader for this school year. We hope that everyone is safe and well, and we are looking forward to meeting your sons in few days. Before I go further, two important announcements. First, should you have any questions about the cashless payment system that we will use usually for parents of grades 3 and grade 4, there are AUB representatives over there. Second, please note that the class list posted outside the MPC contain the correct section of your son. Kindly disregard the sections found in the parent portal. So at this point, please allow me to discuss important information that you will need to know before the opening of classes. Let's start with uniform. Having a school uniform helps create an atmosphere of structure and formality. As the students report back on-site, it is important to let them feel that the school environment is not as informal as their own homes, and as such, there will be more rules to follow, and wearing the uniform is one of them. So all students are required to wear the Xavier School issued collared shirt complete with the school logo and a name tag sewn on top of the logo. And so far as this is a school uniform, please note that similar colored shirts may not serve as alternative attire. This top should be paired with a decent pair of bottoms, shorts or pants, and rubber shoes. Still on the uniform, students are required to wear the yellow Savior PE shirt paired with the blue PE shorts or jogging pants on their PE day. Footwear consists of white socks and any comfortable and well-fitting rubber shoes. Let's go now to haircut. You enjoy the haircut with the long hair. So at this time, in addition to the prescribed dress code, students are expected to observe the required haircut, and that is the barber's cut as prescribed on the student handbook. This one is already mentioned by Ms. Jane, but I would like to reiterate. Communication between the home and the school. The school issued each student an excess parent email. And this means one email address for every child you currently have enrolled in Xavier. So all official school communications, like messages from the class advisor, reminders for makeup tests, and general announcements may be sent through the email. We request that you check your excess parent email regularly. When getting in touch with the school, please also use that email so that you can easily be identified as the parent of your child. Since the email correspondences may include crucial information, we request that you, our dear parents, directly communicate with us. We had an isolated cases of students replying to their teachers through the excess email instead of their parents, and this has led to some miscommunications or delay in resolving concerns. A teacher's directory containing the email addresses of your son's teachers, such as his class advisor, guidance counselor, student supervisor, and other subject teachers, will be provided to you. Kindly refer to this to inform us of any of your concerns. Please note that the most efficient way to get a concern addressed is to directly contact the teacher or school authority involved. So at this point, kindly allow me to remind everyone that teachers have a limited time to check their emails. And so, even as they wish to answer you as quickly as possible, please allow for a healthy turnaround, usually 1 to 2 days, for them to respond. Email received after 4 p.m. will be read on the following day. In case of emergency, you may call the grade school principal's office or the Office of Disciplinary Services. On HSCN, the homeschool communication notebook will be used by your sons to copy his homework and other important reminders for the day. Teachers may write short notes to you through HSCN. We request you to check this every day as well and at least affix your signature. May I remind this? Affix your signature to acknowledge the teacher's message. Routines during online day. During online days, everyone should log into Zoom the entire period using the Xavier-issued parent email account. Students are requested to save their class Zoom links in their devices for easy login access. The quality of learning is directly affected by the conduciveness of the students' learning environment. Given this, we ask that you provide your son a permanent learning space at home. He will need a table, chair, and electrical outlet for charging the gadget. School materials should be within reach to avoid wasting time, looking for them when needed. Make sure that the dedicated learning space is well lighted, well ventilated, and comfortable as he will not just attend his online classes there, but will also accomplish all schoolwork that needs to be done at home. Routines on recitation, asking questions, going to the bathroom, during seat work, etc. will be discussed in the first few days of school. We request you to help us impose these school routines during online classes from your home too. Gadgets to be used. This is only for grade 3 and grade 4. The grades 3 and 4 students are required to bring their fully charged iPad to school every day. And this will be placed inside a cart during the day for safekeeping. As mentioned by Mrs. Cacacho, they will bring this when they go home. A circular was emailed to you regarding the installation of a mobile device management system software in your son's iPad to help with classroom management. Please make sure make sure that this is done prior to the opening of classes. With regards to food, students grades 3 to grade 6, students may bring their own food to school. However, for grade 2 parents, for grade 2 students, parents have the option to order food from the canteen on a weekly basis. Pre-ordered food will be delivered to your son's classroom during health break number 1, which is recess, and in the canteen during health break number 2. Details about the placements of orders and payment will be given through an email. Grade 3 and grade 4 students have the option to buy their meals from the food concessionaires at the canteen. For those buying directly on a daily basis, all transactions will be cashless. Students will not be allowed to buy food through cash payments. In line with this, as mentioned again by Mrs. Cacacho, please make sure that you enroll to the Hello Money app. A circular will be sent to your parent email regarding instructions on how to create the QR code. Note that students will have to bring their own spoon and fork if they need these. Break time, playing time. Students look forward to playtime, and given their long absence from face-to-face encounters with peers, we have structured 2 health breaks within the day. 2 40-minute health breaks are given to students. Health break supervisors will ensure that the first 15 minutes of each break will be allotted for resting and eating. Students will only be allowed to leave their eating area once this is up. The rest of the break may be spent for playing. The boys will be informed of the schedule of playtime in the quadrangle, sports center, and the football field. We are also happy to inform you that the students may visit the library or the LRC during health breaks. In preparing materials needed for school, to practice responsibility at home and to be ready for the next school day, your sons are encouraged to develop the habit of preparing their materials the night before. Your assistance in guiding them to do this using the class schedule will be very, very important. So we have now to go to the regular schedules. For grades 2 to 4, this school year we will follow the 7-day cycle as mentioned. Wednesday is our online day regardless of the day cycle. So batch 1 will start at 7:30 and batch 2 will start at 8:10. Sana yung schedule lang ang pinicture nyo di ako. Okay, for grade 3, the same. So the regular schedule will be followed starting June 19. Please note that we will also offer on-site interest-based activities or IBA for grades 3 and 4 students. This will be every day grade 2. After class hours for batch 1 and before class hours for batch 2. We will be sending you an email regarding the details of the activities. We hope that you will take advantage of this and have your son attend the different activities. Alright, so let's go now to the orientation week schedule and the open house. For grades 2 to 4, there will be orientation days in the first week of the school. Grade 2 will have them from June 13 to 16, while grades 3 and 4 will have theirs from June 14 to 16. Topics during these days will allow your son to be familiar with the various places in the campus, classroom routines, and other school rules, regulations, and policies. And on June 13, Wednesday, grade 2 parents may bring their sons straight to the classroom. You can also fetch them from the classroom after school. Please take note of the grade 2 schedule on June 13. Again, batch 1, 7:30 to 11:30, and then batch 2, 8:10 to 12:10. Okay? There will be no classes for grades 3 and 4 on June 13. So then, grade 3 and grade 4, don't send your son on June 13. Okay? We will send them back home. The first day of classes for grades 3 and 4, students will be on June 14. And on this day, parents will be allowed to bring their sons to the classrooms. So welcome to the classroom. However, we request that you wait for your son in the prescribed exit gates already during dismissal. Please take note of the schedule from June 14 to 16. Grades 2 to 4, 7:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and then batch 2, 8:10 to 2:10 p.m. So regular schedule will start on June 19, Monday, and this will be day 1 of cycle 1. Alright. So excited. We are excited to have your son on the first day. So these are the things to bring on the first day. The first day of classes is important, and therefore we are requesting you to bring your son to school on time. Okay? Grade 2 will be in school a day ahead of the other grade school students. They will be reporting to school on June 13. Starting June 14, please have your son bring the following: a bag that contains the HCN, coloring and writing materials, envelopes and other materials, grooming kit, the grab bag, the contents of the grab bag, and the food for snacks and for lunch. And of course, don't forget the water jug. Okay? Grades 3 and 4 students do not have to bring their iPads yet during the first week of classes. They will start bringing them on June 19. Okay. Entrance and exit gates. Please note that prescribed entrance and exit gate for grade 2 and 3 is gate 4. While for grade 4, it will be gate A. Please note too that parking outside Sacred School is not allowed, and Barangay Green Hills is implementing a clamping ordinance. You may use the parking facility at gate 9 for your convenience. Fetcher's card. If you applied for a fetcher's card, you may claim it after this orientation at the grade school open dining. This will already be used when you fetch your son on the first day of school. Let's try to stress more on simplicity. In line with our thrust on simplicity, the school encourages simple living through the following practices. Grade 2 students are not allowed to bring money to school. In grade 3 to grade 4, students do not have to bring money as well, since we are implementing cashless payment. Please ensure, however, that you only put the right amount of money for his meals in school. Students are not allowed to wear jewelry and other accessories in school. Birthday parties in school are not allowed. Distribution of loot bags and other giveaways are also not allowed. So we hope that you can help us in promoting simplicity through these practices. Now, this is only for grade 4. Where are the grade 4 parents? Ayan. Okay. For grade 4 parents, one of the highlights of grade 4 is the first Holy Communion, or the first, or FHC. Please note that for this school year, we will be holding the first Holy Communion in October. In line with this, we will have the pictorial for the communicants in September. This means that your son's barong, I reiterate this, your son's barong should be ready in time for the pictorial. Okay? Note too that parents will have to attend a required recollection and preparation for your son's first Holy Communion. Details will be communicated to you through an email. Preparing for an on-site class. This new school year will entail new adjustments, especially to students who will be attending classes on-site for the first time. It is important to stress the virtues of responsibility, cooperation, independence, and self-discipline. Whether schooling takes place in the home or in school, these virtues have to be practiced faithfully and consistently. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to working together with you. Lucia, please.